Sam Harrison looked up at the night sky from his small backyard in Nebraska. The stars were bright and clear away from the city lights. He had spent 15 years studying those stars, trying to prove his theories about space travel that everyone else said were impossible. Sam was 32 years old with dark brown hair that was already showing some gray. His small house was filled with books, papers, and computer equipment. The university had stopped funding his research 2 years ago. They called his ideas about faster space travel unrealistic and a waste of resources. "They'll see," Sam muttered as he went back inside to his desk covered with calculations. The next morning started like any other. Sam made coffee and sat down at his computer. He was about to begin working when every screen in his house suddenly changed. The emergency broadcast system had taken over all signals. "This is not a test," said a serious-looking woman on the screen. "An unidentified object has entered Earth's orbit. All citizens should remain calm and await further instructions." Sam stared at the screen in shock. He rushed outside and looked up but couldn't see anything unusual in the morning sky. His phone rang. It was his friend Olivia Lang from the linguistics department. "Sam, are you seeing this?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Yes, do you know anything more?" "Just rumors. Some people are saying it's massive, bigger than anything humans have ever built. The military is involved." 3 days passed. The world held its breath. News channels showed nothing but the giant ship now visible through telescopes. It was beautiful, shaped like a crescent moon with glowing blue lights along its surface. Governments issued statements asking for calm. Religious leaders claimed it was proof of their beliefs. Stock markets closed. On the 4th day, they made contact. Sam watched with the rest of humanity as screens everywhere showed the first alien beings ever seen by human eyes. They called themselves the Galactic Coalition and spoke perfect English through translation devices. Their leader, Ambassador Xylith, had gray-blue skin and large, intelligent eyes. "We come in peace," said Ambassador Xylith. "We have observed your species for many years. We believe humans have unique abilities that make you valuable potential allies. The world changed overnight. Aliens were real. Humans were not alone." 2 weeks later, Sam received a strange message on his computer. It was an invitation to apply for something called Sunspire Academy. The message mentioned his research specifically. "Your theories on subspace propulsion, mathematics show remarkable intuition for a species at your technological level," the message read. "You are invited to apply for consideration to Sunspire Academy, the Coalition's premier educational institution." Sam applied immediately, not really expecting anything. To his surprise, a personal interview was scheduled. He met with 2 coalition representatives in a hastily established embassy in Chicago. "Your work," said one of the aliens, a tall being, with 4 arms, "almost accidentally touched on principles our scientists discovered 3 centuries ago. How did you arrive at these conclusions without quantum observation tools?" Sam explained his research as best he could. The aliens watched him with unblinking eyes and took notes on strange devices. 1 month later, Sam received the news. He had been selected as one of 50 humans invited to attend Sunspire Academy. The list included scientists, military officers, linguists, and engineers from around the world. Olivia was among them too, which gave Sam some comfort. The day of departure arrived. Sam stood in line with 49 other humans at a special facility built in the Arizona desert. They carried only personal items in small bags. Everything else would be provided. Olivia found him in line. "Can you believe this?" she asked. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, and she looked both excited and terrified. "Not really," Sam admitted. "Yesterday, I was unemployed and considered a failure by most of my colleagues. Today I'm going to an alien school." A military man named Ryan Pearson joined their conversation. He was tall with a serious face and short-cut hair. "I'm not sure what to expect," he said quietly. "But I know we're representing all of humanity. Now." The Coalition transport ship descended from the clouds. It was smaller than the main vessel, but still impressive, gleaming silver with no visible engines or windows. How does it fly? Someone whispered. We're about to find out, Sam replied. Inside, the ship was nothing like human aircraft. The walls seemed alive, shifting with soft colors. The seats molded themselves to human bodies when sat upon. There was no visible crew. Welcome, Sunspire candidate, said a pleasant voice from nowhere. Please secure yourselves for departure. The journey will take approximately 14 Earth hours. The takeoff was so smooth that Sam barely felt it. One moment they were on Earth, and the next, the screens around them showed they were already leaving the atmosphere. Once in space, they were transferred to the main coalition vessel. Ambassador Xylith greeted them personally. You are the first humans ever admitted to Sunspire Academy, the ambassador said. This is historic for both our peoples. The journey to the academy will require faster-than-light travel. This may be disorienting for you, but it is perfectly safe. Sam couldn't believe what he was hearing. Faster-than-light travel was exactly what his research had been trying to achieve. How does it work? He asked before he could stop himself. Ambassador Xylith turned those large eyes toward him. You will learn this and much more at the academy, Sam Harrison. Your species has much potential, but also much to learn. The massive ship entered what the coalition called fold space. The stars outside stretched into lines and then disappeared. Completely. They were traveling through blackness that wasn't quite empty. Sam thought he could see shapes moving in the void. During the journey, the humans learned there were 17 different species in the Galactic Coalition, each with their own special abilities and roles. Humans were the newest potential members, but first, they needed to prove themselves at the Academy. After what felt like days, the ship emerged from fold space. Through the viewing windows, they saw it for the first time. Sunspire Station. It was enormous, shaped like a giant spire, reaching up from a circular base. Lights glittered across its surface like stars. Smaller ships moved around it like busy insects. Home for the next 3 years, Olivia whispered. As they docked, Dean Vorshan, the academy administrator, met them. He was tall with 6 limbs and skin that shifted colors as he spoke. His voice was deep and intimidating. Welcome to Sunspire Academy, he said. Not all who enter these halls survive the curriculum, but those who do change the fate of galaxies. Sam looked at the other humans around him. They all shared the same expression, a mixture of wonder, fear, and determination. Their journey had just begun. 3 months had passed since Sam and the other humans arrived at Sunspire Academy. The station was vast beyond anything they had imagined. It contained entire ecosystems, training grounds, laboratories, and living quarters for thousands of students from across the galaxy. Sam stared out the window of his quarters. Space looked different here, with unfamiliar stars and the glow of nearby nebulae. He had never felt so small yet so important. You're going to be late again, said a voice behind him. It was Olivia, standing in his doorway. They had become close friends during their time at the academy. I was just thinking, Sam replied, grabbing his data tablet. You're always thinking, she said with a smile. That's why you're top of the class in theoretical physics. They walked quickly through the curved hallways of the living section. Other species moved around them, some tall and graceful, others short and heavy. Some floated rather than walked. After 3 months, Sam was still amazed by the diversity. Physical training today, Olivia reminded him. Your favorite? Sam groaned. While he excelled in the classroom, physical training was different. Humans were neither the strongest nor the fastest species at the academy, but they were discovering they had other advantages. In the training hall, their instructor waited. Trainer Kex was a silicon-based life form whose body resembled polished crystal. He did not speak but communicated directly through the neural translators all students wore. Today we test adaptation to changing gravity, came the thought in Sam's mind. Coalition forces must be prepared for all environments. The training floor divided into sections, each with different gravity settings. Some were Earth normal. Others had twice or half that gravity. In one section, gravity shifted direction every few seconds. Ryan Pearson, the former Navy SEAL, was already warming up. Physical challenges were his strength. Ready to fall on your face, Harrison? He asked with a friendly smile. I'll try to fall gracefully, Sam replied. The training began. Students moved through the different gravity zones, performing tasks and solving problems. While many alien species specialized in particular environments, the humans showed surprising versatility. Notice, said Professor Ellis Morgan, the only human instructor at the academy, who was observing the session. Humans aren't the best in any single environment, but they adapt more quickly than most. Sam struggled through the high-gravity zone, his muscles burning. But he noticed something interesting. The insectoid Vespari students, normally much faster than humans, seemed confused when gravity changed. They had evolved for specific conditions and took longer to adjust their movements. After training, Sam headed to the engineering lab. Here, he truly shined. Today, they were working on power distribution systems for space stations. The human students had formed a team with 2 alien students, Krex, a crystalline being with multiple limbs, and Navari, an amphibious creature with remarkable strategic thinking. Sam, Navari said through the translator, your solution from yesterday works. The power efficiency improved by 32%. Sam smiled. His understanding of physics had grown exponentially at the academy. What had been theoretical on Earth was practical here. As they worked, Sam noticed Commander Jalzak watching them. The tall Vespari military officer had made it clear he thought humans didn't belong at the academy. His compound eyes seemed to track every human movement, waiting for mistakes. That evening, all students gathered in the central hall for an announcement. Dean Vorchan stood on the raised platform, his 6 limbs in formal position. The first major trial approaches, he said, his skin shifting to formal blue. Teams will face a crisis scenario that will test all you have learned. Failure has consequences. Whispers spread through the crowd. The academy trials were famous for their difficulty. Not everyone survived them. Later, in the human common area, Sam and the others discussed the upcoming trial. I heard last year 3 students died in the vacuum exposure test, said someone. That's just a rumor, Olivia replied. But she looked worried. Sam was about to speak when a sharp pain hit his head. He winced, closing his eyes. Behind his eyelids, he saw strange mathematical symbols floating. They seemed important, but he didn't understand them. The vision faded as quickly as it had come. You okay? Ryan asked, noticing Sam's discomfort. Just tired, Sam lied. This wasn't the first time he'd experienced these strange visions. They had started about a month ago and were becoming more frequent. The next day, teams were assigned for the trial. Sam, Olivia, Ryan, Krex, and Navari were placed together. They received their scenario. A simulated space station was experiencing antimatter containment failure. They had to prevent catastrophic explosion while evacuating priority personnel. This is impossible, Ryan said as they reviewed the parameters. The containment system is already at 70% decay. By standard procedures, this station would already be evacuated. Standard procedures assume standard technology, Sam replied. An idea was forming in his mind. But what if we reverse the polarity of the station's shield generators and create a temporary containment field? Krex's crystalline body glittered with interest. That would require precisely calculated power transfers. One mistake would accelerate the decay. I can calculate the power requirements, Sam said. For 3 days they prepared. Other teams took more conventional approaches, focusing on evacuation efficiency. Sam's team was the only one attempting to save the station itself. The day of the Yaisgar trial arrived. Each team entered a perfect simulation chamber. Once inside, the environment seemed completely real. A dying space station with warnings blaring and systems failing. They moved quickly, each performing their assigned tasks. Sam worked on the shield modifications while Olivia and Ryan evacuated the simulated crew. Krex and Navari managed power systems. Containment at 85% decay, announced the station computer. Critical failure in 5 minutes. Sam's fingers flew over the control panel. The mathematics were complex, but something in his mind seemed to guide him. The strange symbols he had seen in his vision suddenly made sense in this context. Now, he shouted to Krex, who executed the power transfer. The station rumbled. Lights flickered. For a moment, Sam thought they had failed. Then the computer spoke, containment stabilizing, decay rate decreasing. They had done it. While other teams had saved various numbers of crew at the cost of the station, Sam's team had saved both. When they exited the simulation, instructors and other students were waiting. Dean Vorshan himself approached them. Unconventional, he said, his skin shifting to a color Sam hadn't seen before. No team has attempted this solution in 27 years of trials. Interesting. That night, Sam couldn't sleep. The headache returned, stronger than before. Mathematical equations and strange alien symbols flashed through his mind. In his dream, he saw a vast, dark shape moving through space, something ancient and threatening. He awoke suddenly, gasping. On his data tablet, he had written equations he didn't remember typing. When he looked at them in the dim light, a chill ran down his spine. Something was happening to him. Something connected to the academy, to his presence, here, and he was certain he wasn't the only one experiencing it. 1 year had passed since the humans arrived at Sunspire Academy. Sam and his fellow students had grown accustomed to the daily routines, the strange foods, and the countless alien species they encountered. The academy had become home. Sam sat in the advanced physics lab, working on a complex equation when alarms began to sound throughout the station. Not practice alarms. These were different, urgent. All students report to the central hall immediately, announced the station's communication system. Sam met Olivia and Ryan in the hallway as they rushed toward the central hall. Other students from all species were doing the same, some looking worried, others confused. "What's happening?" Olivia asked, her face pale. "I don't know, but it's not a drill," Ryan replied, his military training evident in his alert posture. The central hall filled quickly with thousands of students and faculty. Dean Vorshan stood on the platform, his skin a dark gray color that Sam had never seen before. Beside him stood Ambassador Xylith and several high-ranking coalition officials. "Silence," Dean Vorshan said, and the hall immediately quieted. "We face an unprecedented crisis. 3 coalition worlds have gone silent in the past 24 hours. All communication has ceased." Murmurs spread through the crowd. 3 planets, with billions of inhabitants, silent. Ambassador Xylith stepped forward. "We have confirmed our worst fears. The void hegemony has returned after 5,000 years of absence." Images appeared on the large screens around the hall. Dark ships with strange geometrical shapes, planets with strange black structures covering portions of their surfaces. "The hegemony is an ancient enemy of all life in this galaxy," Xylith continued. "They do not communicate, they do not negotiate. They corrupt organic minds with their technology, turning populations against each other before conquest." Sam felt a sharp pain in his head. The familiar, strange symbols flashed in his vision, but this time they matched some of the angular patterns on the hegemony ships. He gripped his seat tightly, trying to hide his discomfort. "All final-year students will be assigned to emergency response teams," Dean Vorshan announced. "All research projects are now focused on hegemony countermeasures. This is not a drill. This is war." In the following days, Sunspire Station transformed. Military vessels docked regularly. Security increased everywhere. Combat training replaced many regular classes. Sam was assigned to a special research team because of his work in theoretical physics. Their task: understand how hegemony technology affected organic minds and develop protection. Olivia joined him on the team as a linguistic expert. They worked in a secure laboratory deep within the station, alongside scientists from many species. "Look at this," Olivia said one evening, showing Sam brain scans from affected populations. "The patterns of neural activity are changing in a specific sequence. It's almost like a language," Sam finished her thought. "They're rewriting the brain's language." That night, Sam's dreams were more intense than ever. He saw endless equations, strange symbols, and dark ships moving through space. He woke up drenched in sweat, his head pounding. Without thinking, he grabbed his tablet and wrote down everything he could remember. The next morning, he showed his notes to Olivia. "This is similar to what we're seeing in the affected brains," she said, looking concerned. "Sam, how long have you been having these dreams?" "Months now," he admitted. "They're getting worse." Olivia's face grew serious. "We need to talk to someone about this." They decided to approach Professor Ellis Morgan, the human instructor they trusted most. In his office, they explained Sam's dreams and showed him the notes. Professor Morgan studied the symbols carefully. "This is troubling," he said, "but also potentially valuable. If you're somehow receiving information about hegemony technology, we might use it." "But how am I receiving it?" Sam asked. "And why me?" "That's what we need to find out," Professor Morgan replied. They ran tests on Sam's brain. The results were shocking. Unlike other humans, Sam's neural patterns showed unusual activity in regions associated with mathematical processing and spatial reasoning. "It's as if your brain is receiving and translating signals that others can't detect," said a coalition doctor named Verithi, who specialized in brain studies. Her long, slender fingers adjusted the scanning equipment. "This is unique." More, tests revealed something even more surprising. All humans showed some degree of resistance to the simulated hegemony signals that affected other species dramatically. "This explains the coalition's sudden interest in humanity," Ryan said when they shared their findings with him. "They need us because we can resist this influence." Their research accelerated. Sam worked day and night, using his strange dreams as guidance. They discovered that human brains processed information differently than other species, making them naturally resistant to certain types of influence. One afternoon, Director Patricia Wells, the human diplomatic representative, visited their lab. She was tall with silver hair and a stern expression. "Your work has attracted attention at the highest levels," she told Sam. "The Coalition Council wants direct updates." Sam wasn't sure if this was good news. Something about Director Wells made him uncomfortable. That evening, as Sam and Olivia were reviewing data, an alarm sounded in their lab. Security systems had detected an unauthorized transmission. "Someone's sending our research off station," Olivia said, checking the computer. Sam quickly locked down the system, but the damage was done. Some of their findings had been transmitted to an unknown destination. "We have a spy," Sam said grimly. They reported the breach to Security Chief Counselor Thraxis, a reptilian being with sharp eyes and quick movements. "This is most disturbing," Thraxis said. "Few have access to your laboratory." The next day, a refugee ship arrived at Sunspire Station. It carried survivors from one of the fallen worlds. Among them was a woman named Ashara, who had escaped just before her planet fell to the hegemony. Sam and Olivia interviewed her, hoping for insights. "It started with dreams," Ashara said, her voice shaking. "People reported strange visions, mathematical symbols. Then came the headaches. Within weeks, neighbor turned against neighbor. The hegemony ships arrived after most of the population had already torn itself apart." Sam felt cold. The dreams she described matched his own. "How did you escape it?" He asked. "I don't know," Ashara replied. "Some of us weren't affected. We were hunted by those who were." That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He paced his quarters, thinking. If the hegemony used some kind of signal to corrupt minds, and if humans were naturally resistant, perhaps they could create a counter-signal. He began working on a new theory, combining what he'd learned about coalition technology with his own intuitions. By morning, he had the beginnings of a defense system. When he arrived at the lab to share his idea, he found it sealed by security forces. Armed guards blocked the entrance. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Your team is under investigation for sabotage and espionage," said a security officer, "by order of Counselor Thraxis." "That's ridiculous," Sam protested. "The evidence suggests otherwise," came a voice behind him. It was Dean Vorshan. "Signals matching hegemony patterns have been traced to this laboratory. You and your team are confined to quarters until further notice." As security officers escorted Sam away, he caught a glimpse of Director Wells watching from a distance, her face expressionless. Something was very wrong at Sunspire Academy, and Sam was now at the center of it. Sam paced in his quarters, which had become his prison for the past 3 days. The security lockdown prevented him from contacting Olivia, Ryan, or any other team members. His data access was restricted, and guards stood outside his door. He had tried to explain that he and his team were not working with the hegemony, but no one would listen. Something strange was happening at the highest levels of Sunspire Academy. Just as Sam was about to try hacking into the communication system again, the lights in his quarters flickered. Then they went out completely. Emergency red lighting came on seconds later, casting an eerie glow. "Alert! Alert!" came the station-wide announcement. "Security breach in sectors 7 through 12. All personnel implement emergency protocols." Sam heard commotion outside his door. The sound of running feet, then silence. The guards had left their posts. He tried the door. To his surprise, it slid open. The security lockdown had failed along with the main power systems. Sam stepped into the hallway cautiously. Emergency lighting cast long shadows. In the distance, he heard shouting and what sounded like weapons fire. He needed to find his team. Olivia's quarters were 2 levels up. Ryan's were on the same level but in a different section. Sam decided to find Ryan first. As he moved through the dimly lit corridors, the station rumbled. Something had hit it, something big. People ran past him, some in panic, others moving with purpose toward battle stations. Sam reached Ryan's quarters and found the door already open. Inside, Ryan was gearing up with emergency equipment. "Harrison!" Ryan exclaimed. "What's happening?" "I think we're under attack," Sam replied. "The hegemony must have found the station." Another explosion rocked the structure. Alarms blared louder. "We need to find Olivia and the others," Sam said. They moved carefully through the corridors, avoiding security teams who might still be under orders to detain them. The station shook repeatedly as they made their way up to Olivia's level. They found her in the hallway outside her quarters, helping an injured student. "Sam! Ryan!" she called when she saw them. "It's the hegemony." 3 ships appeared out of nowhere. "We need to get to the research lab," Sam said. "All our work is there. If there's any chance of fighting back, we need that data." They made their way to the central section of the station. Through viewport windows, they could see space battles raging outside. Coalition defense ships engaged with strange angular vessels that seemed to absorb weapons fire rather than deflect it. As they approached the research section, they encountered Professor Morgan. "Thank goodness you're free," he said. "I was coming to find you. Something's very wrong with Dean Vorshan. He ordered security to abandon the outer defenses just before the attack began." "The Dean?" Sam asked in shock. "But why would he?" "I think he's been compromised," Professor Morgan said grimly. "Or replaced. We've seen reports of hegemony using constructed duplicates to infiltrate leadership. This explained the false accusations against Sam's team. If Dean Vorshan was working for the hegemony, he would want to silence anyone developing countermeasures." They reached the research lab to find it already breached. Inside, Director Wells was downloading data from the main systems. "Stop!" Sam shouted. Director Wells turned, her face showing no surprise. "Mr. Harrison, I expected you'd break free during the chaos." "You're working with them," Olivia said, the realization dawning. "With the hegemony." "Not with them," Director Wells replied calmly. "For them, there's a difference. They were here long before any of your species evolved. They are the rightful rulers of this galaxy." Ryan moved toward her, but she raised a weapon. "Stay back, I'm almost finished here." Suddenly, a new figure entered the lab. It was Dean Vorshan, but his movements were wrong. Too stiff, too mechanical. "The defiant one," the Dean said, but the voice wasn't his. It was flat, emotionless. "You continue to resist the signal. Most impressive." Sam realized the Dean was talking to him. "What signal? The dreams?" "You were selected because your brain showed potential compatibility," the false Dean said. "All humans were tested when we first contacted Earth. You were to be our first successful human conversion. Yet you resist." Sam's head pounded. The mathematical symbols flashed in his vision again. But now he understood. They weren't just equations. They were programming code, meant to rewrite his neural patterns. "The hegemony has been trying to control me," Sam said aloud. "But instead I've been seeing their code, understanding their technology." "Enough talk," Director Wells snapped. "We have what we need." She fired her weapon, but Ryan pushed Sam aside. The blast hit a console instead, setting off sparks and smoke. In the confusion, Sam lunged for the main computer terminal. If he could just secure their research data, they might still have a chance. The false dean moved with inhuman speed, grabbing Sam's throat with 3 of his 6 limbs. "You cannot stop what has already begun," he said. Ryan tackled the dean from behind. They crashed into equipment, fighting fiercely. The dean was incredibly strong, but Ryan's combat training kept him alive. Meanwhile, Olivia engaged Director Wells, knocking the weapon from her hand. They struggled as alarms continued to blare. Sam reached the computer terminal and quickly initiated a secure lockdown of their research. Then he had an idea. If the hegemony was using signals to control minds, perhaps the station's communication array could be reconfigured to broadcast a counter-signal. As Ryan and the false dean fought, Sam saw something shocking. Where the dean's skin had torn in the struggle, there was no blood, only a strange, dark material like liquid metal. Sam worked frantically at the terminal while the battles raged around him. Using what he had learned from his dreams, he programmed a signal pattern that might disrupt hegemony control. He routed it through the station's emergency broadcast system. "I need time," he shouted to the others. Professor Morgan joined the fight, helping Olivia subdue Director Wells. Ryan was losing ground against the false dean's inhuman strength. Just as the dean pinned Ryan to the floor, Sam activated the counter-signal. A high-pitched tone filled the air, inaudible to human ears but causing the false dean to freeze. His body convulsed, and the dark material beneath his skin seemed to bubble and shift. Director Wells screamed, clutching her head. "Turn it off," she shrieked. "It burns." The false dean released Ryan and stumbled backward. Parts of his body began to lose cohesion, revealing the dark construct beneath the copied flesh. "This station is lost," the dean said, its voice now clearly mechanical. "But others are coming. Many others." Outside the laboratory windows, Sam could see coalition reinforcements arriving. Fresh ships engaged the hegemony vessels. The battle was turning. Sam modified the signal, strengthening it. The false dean collapsed, the construct material losing its form completely. Director Wells lost consciousness. When they checked her, they found a small device attached to the base of her skull, some kind of hegemony control mechanism. "We did it," Olivia said, breathing hard from the fight. "We stopped them." "Not them," Sam corrected her. "Just their agents here. The real battle hasn't even started." He looked at the equations on his screen, the beginning of a defense against the hegemony's mind control technology. It wasn't complete, but it was a start. "We need to get this to the coalition leadership immediately," he said. "And we need to prepare. Earth could be their next target." As if in answer to his words, a new ship appeared on the tracking screens. It was approaching rapidly from the direction of Earth's solar system. Its identification came through. Coalition Emergency Response Vessel Defiance, Captain Maria Lopez commanding. Earth had sent help. Humanity had joined the fight. 6 months had passed since the attack on Sunspire Academy. The galaxy was at war with the Void hegemony. Coalition forces fought on multiple fronts against the dark ships that seemed to appear from nowhere. Sam Harrison stood on the observation deck of the newly built Earth Defense Headquarters in what used to be Nebraska farmland. The building was a blend of human and coalition architecture, rising like a silver tree from the prairie. Through the windows, Sam could see ships and vehicles, unlike anything Earth had known before the coalition contact. "Hard to believe this used to be empty fields," said a voice behind him. Sam turned to see Captain Maria Lopez of the Defiance. She was in her formal uniform, ready for the day's important meeting. "It all happened so fast," Sam agreed. "One moment, we were alone in the universe. The next, we're building ships to fight in a galactic war." Earth had changed dramatically in the past year. Coalition technology had accelerated human development by centuries. Where once there had been farms, now there were research centers. Where there had been small towns, now there were spaceports. The council members have arrived, Maria said. They're waiting for you. Sam nodded and followed her to the conference room. Inside waited the leaders of Earth's united government and representatives from the Coalition's founding species. President Natalie Rivera rose as Sam entered. She was a stern woman with intelligent eyes who had been elected to lead Earth through this crisis. Dr. Harrison, she greeted him, thank you for coming. Please update us on the Human Innovation Corps progress. After the battle at Sunspire, Sam had returned to Earth to lead the new Human Innovation Corps, a team combining Earth's best minds with alien specialists. Their mission was to develop defenses against the hegemony. Sam activated the room's holographic display. Images of devices and mathematical equations appeared in the air. The counter-signal technology has been refined, he explained. We can now disrupt hegemony control signals across an entire planetary system. Production of emitter satellites has begun at the lunar facility. And the detection system? Asked Jen, the Coalition Supreme Commander. The tall, blue-skinned alien had become Earth's strongest ally in the Coalition leadership. We've developed sensors that can detect hegemony ships before they emerge from fold space, Sam replied. Early warning will give populations time to activate defenses. The meeting continued as they discussed strategy and resources. Earth had become crucial to the war effort. Human resistance to hegemony mind control made them valuable troops and researchers. Earth's factories worked day and night producing technology based on Sam's designs. After the meeting, Sam met with Olivia in the research wing. Since returning from Sunspire, their relationship had grown more complicated. The pressures of war and their separate responsibilities had created distance between them. How was the council meeting, she asked, looking up from her work on language patterns and hegemony transmissions. The same, Sam replied. Everyone's afraid. The hegemony is advancing on 3 fronts. We're developing defenses, but not fast enough. Olivia nodded, her face showing the strain they all felt. I've found something interesting in these transmissions, she said, changing the subject. There are patterns that match your original dreams, but with variations. It's like they're adapting their code to overcome our countermeasures. Before they could discuss further, alarms sounded throughout the facility. Red emergency lights flashed. Alert. Hegemony vessels detected approaching Earth. This is not a drill. All personnel to battle stations. Sam and Olivia rushed to the command center. Screens showed 3 large hegemony ships emerging from fold space near Mars. Earth's defense fleet was already moving to intercept. They're targeting us directly now, Ryan Pearson said grimly. He had become a commander in Earth's new Space Force. This is the moment we've been preparing for. President Rivera entered the command center, her face determined. Activate all defensive systems, she ordered, and get me the Defiance. On the main screen, Captain Lopez's face appeared from the bridge of her ship. Defiance is moving to engage, Madam President. We have coalition reinforcements 8 minutes behind us. Sam studied the tactical displays. The hegemony ships were larger than any they had encountered before. This was not a scout force or a raiding party. This was an invasion. Those ships can carry mind control broadcasters powerful enough to affect the entire planet. Sam warned, we need to keep them beyond lunar orbit. The space battle began. Earth's ships, built with coalition technology but crewed by humans, engaged the enemy. The Defiance led the attack, its weapons flashing against the dark hulls of the hegemony. Vessels. In the command center, Sam monitored the effectiveness of their counter-signal technology. It was working. The hegemony's attempts to broadcast their control signals were being disrupted. They're adapting, Olivia warned, watching the signal patterns change. The counter-signal needs adjustment. Sam worked quickly, modifying the broadcast parameters. This was the true test of everything they had developed. The battle raged for hours. Coalition reinforcements arrived, joining the defense. But the hegemony ships were powerful, absorbing tremendous damage while continuing their advance toward Earth. We need something more. President Rivera said, watching a human cruiser explode under enemy fire. Sam had been thinking about this, moments since Sunspire. The dreams, the equations, the strange symbols. They had been leading him somewhere. There was one more thing to try. "I need direct access to the main broadcasting array," he told the president. "I think I can turn their own signal against them." Given emergency authorization, Sam connected his research tablet to Earth's global defense network. Using everything he had learned about hegemony technology, he created a new type of signal. Not just a countermeasure, but an offensive weapon. "Ready?" he said finally. "Activating now." From transmitters around the planet and throughout the solar system, the new signal went out. It wasn't designed to block the hegemony's control. It was designed to confuse their own systems, to feed back into their technology. On the screens, they watched as the hegemony ships began to behave erratically. One turned against another, firing its weapons. The third began to drift, its systems apparently failing. "It's working," Olivia whispered. "You're turning their own technology against them." Earth's forces pressed the advantage. The Defiance led a concentrated attack against the disoriented enemy ships. One by one, the massive hegemony vessels were destroyed or disabled. When it was over, the command center erupted in cheers. Earth had defended itself against the greatest threat in its history. In the days that followed, the significance of the victory became clear. Earth had proven itself not just a member of the coalition, but a leader. Human resistance to hegemony control, combined with human creativity, had created a winning strategy. 1 week after the battle, Sam stood again on the observation deck. This time he wasn't alone. Ambassador Xylith joined him, looking out at the new world humans were building. "We came to Earth seeking allies," the ambassador said. "We found something more. We found leaders." Sam nodded. "What happens now?" "Now," said Xylith, "we take the fight to them. The coordinates in your dreams, the ones you finally understood, they point to the hegemony's central world. The Coalition Council has approved an expedition. And they want me to lead it," Sam guessed. "They want humans to lead it," Xylith corrected. "Your species has proven itself." As they spoke, Sam watched a new ship rising from the Earth Defense Facility. It was larger than any built before, a true flagship for the combined forces of humanity and the Coalition. Its name was painted proudly on its hull. Sunspire. The real journey was just beginning.